People of Buenos Aires are thoroughly enjoying hosting the third Summer Youth Olympics in their home city, with record numbers of over 700,000 attending the different events. As you can see, today it's the final of the men's 3-metre springboard. The top 12 qualified after the earlier premium rounds, and scores for their lowest degree dives. That's the first 5 dives they did this morning. Well, they will carry through. They will then have a further 5 rounds of dives this evening, with no limit on the degree of difficulty, which will be added to the score from this morning. This will give us the final result.
At the Youth Olympic Games, Buenos Aires 2018.
So the athletes just parading round to be introduced to the audience. Very big moment for them. All athletes are aged between 15 and 18 at this Youth Olympics.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the divers for the men's 3 meters springboard final.
So we now have a chance to introduce them, and we will be starting off with the youngest competitor, just 15 years of age.
The United States of America, Jack Matthews.
So Jack Matthews will be 16 in November.
Representing Netherlands, Dylan Borg.
Dylan Borg from the Netherlands. He carries through a score of 196.30. Jules Boyer. Very impressed with him this morning.
Representing the Russian Federation, Ruslan Ternoboy.
Ruslan Ternoboy really does stand a chance of getting on the podium today.
Randall Villas Valdez.
Randall Villas Valdez from Mexico.
Representing Italy, Antonio Volpe.
Antonio Volpe, as you can hear, carries through a score of 206.95.
Daniel Garcia Restrepo.
Daniel Garcia Restrepo qualified in 7th place, but stands a really good chance of moving up, having done one failed dive almost earlier, a very disappointing dive. So that was Lou Massenberg from Germany. Bryden Hattie from Canada.
Representing Australia, Matthew Carter.
Matthew Carter qualified for these finals in 3rd place. Anthony Harding qualifying 2nd.
Representing the Republic People of China, Lian Yunji.
Lian Yunji from China, the favourite to take the gold. But as we know, anything can happen. So there's confirmation of the start list and the scores that they will be taking through after the preliminary rounds. So that's just from the 5 dives, the low degree dives that they did first. So Lian Junji, although he finished almost 50 points ahead of the other competitors at the end of this morning's round, he actually only takes forward a lead of about 3 points over the Russian diver and 4 points over the Australian. So he got off to a slow start this morning.
Haley Sage, Judge 4, Hu Xiuren, Judge 5, Emily Rickman.
Lian Junji as well. His last dive this morning, well, it could have unsettled him a bit. It was his forward 4.5 somersaults, and he only scored a 38 for that dive, so hopefully that isn't going to play on his mind. He is going to be repeating the dive. In fact, all of the dives from all of the competitors, there's no change from the last 5 dives that they did in the preliminary rounds. Well, the history books will tell you that nothing is guaranteed, and every one of these divers will have to absolutely give their very best to stand a chance of a podium place. 7 judges, 2 highest and 2 lowest scores don't count. So the 3 scores that are left are then multiplied by the degree difficulty. Some last minute tips going on here. The referee for the day is Simon Latimer from New Zealand, who's in Auckland, who's judged at the last 2 Olympic Games. And he's assisted by Shen Rulin from China, a legend in the world of diving, having won 5 Olympic gold medals. So as the competitors get into the zone, last few tips for the Russian diver there.
No.
They will have visualized this. They will be fully prepared. They will be probably a bit nervous too. But for Jack Matthews, he's going to be leading the way. What a moment for him. And he's going to be starting with his hardest dive, a 3.1 forward, 3.5 somersaults in the pike. Finished 11th in the Junior World Championships, but took silver at the Junior Pan Ams on the 1 meter board. Oh, such concentration, but a good start for Jack Matthews from the USA. Not easy to go first. Just a very slight over rotation. Slightly on one side of the board. 7, 6.5 and 6 to go through. Times by the degree difficulty 3.1. Gives a total score of 60.45 to add to his preliminary score.
Next diver.
That was a lot better than he scored in prelims. Dylan Vork, 18, from the Netherlands. 10th at the Junior World Championships earlier this year. Yeah, lovely start there. Inward 2.5 somersaults in the pike. A very, very consistent diver.
Judges the scores.
63, 3 sevens to count.
6, 7, 7.
That'll settle the nerves.
Salta
16-year-old Jules Boyer, going with easier set of dives than the other competitors. But actually that paid off for him this morning. Inward 2.5 somersaults in the tuck. Yep, lovely dive. As I say, easier degree difficulty, so he needs to execute these so well. Nice and tight on the tuck. And just spots the water at the right time. 55.35.
Next diver, Ruslan Ternovoy from Russian Federation, 107B.
Well, junior European champion on the 10 meters. Finished 6th in the 3 meter event. Starts his quest for a medal at these Youth Olympics. Really good height off the board. Beautiful pike. He has such fantastic extension in those legs and feet. Just 17 years of age. So has 1 more year as a junior. Really getting power off the board.
Judges the score. 6.5.
6.5 and 6, 58.90. That was because the entry wasn't as clean as it could have been.
Salta Randall Valdez, representante de México, 405B.
16-year-old Randall Villas Valdez. Inward 2.5 somersaults in the pike. Degree difficulty of 3.0. Again, very consistent. Perhaps moving just a little bit too far away from the board. But nice dive. Here's another one that specialises more in the 10 metres, but each country, each federation can only send 2 divers to these Youth Olympics. So a lot of them doubling up and participating in both events. 3 sevens and a score of 63.
Next diver, Antonio Volpe from Italy, 51, 52B.
Antonio Volpe, 18 years of age, took a bronze in the 3 metres in the Junior European Championships earlier this year. Choosing to go with the forward 2.5 somersaults with twist in that pike position, that all-important pike position where the chest should be right up against the knees.
Judges scores 7.5, 6.5.
So that's good enough to put him in second place at the moment with a score of 66.
7.5.
Salta Daniel Restrepo, representante de Colombia.
So Daniel Restrepo Garcia took a gold in the 3 metres at the Junior World Championships earlier this year. Was doing really well in the prelims, but then had a bit of a disaster on one of his dives, so he needs to get that full concentration back. Back 3.5 somersaults in the tuck, 3.6. Oh, legs washed over a little bit, just slight over rotation. But he really is going for some difficult dives. None of his dives today are going to be less than a 3.4. His most difficult dive is a 3.8. So certainly challenging himself. But that's good enough to only put him in 6th place at the moment. So he'll be a bit disappointed with that, I think, 52.20.
Next diver, Lou Masenberg from Germany, 405B.
Lou Massenberg, gold medalist at the Junior European Championships. 17 years of age, inward 2.5 somersaults with a pike. And again, just that slight over rotation. They should get high enough up the board and then really get that vertical nice and high and then hold it. So 5.5, 49.50. That'll be disappointing for him, having scored 63 in the previous round this morning for that dive. Bryden Hattie from Canada. Won 3 silvers at the Canadian Games, finished 6th in this event at the Junior World Championships. Inward 2.5 somersaults with pike. Well, the coach liked it. Really good pike. Just didn't quite keep that vertical line. But sevens, so a score of 63, putting him in 4th place at the moment.
Next diver, Matthew Carter, Australia, 407.
Matthew Carter, again, he's got some very difficult dives. This one's a 3.4, inward 3.5 somersaults in the tuck. He used to do gymnastics before he moved into diving. Took a bronze in the 3-metre synchro at the Commonwealth Games. Getting a lot of support here. Attended a champ camp in Australia before coming out to Buenos Aires. The past Olympians were there to support and motivate them.
Judges scores 6, 5.5, 6.
So a score of
6,
61.20 for that dive,
6.
which was 10 more than he received in the preliminaries.
Salta Anthony Harding, representando a Gran Bretaña.
Anthony Harding, his first dive
53B.
at these Youth Olympics. He's chosen his new dive of reverse 2.5 somersaults with 1.5 twists, degree difficulty of 3.3. Oh, great start there. Fantastic from Anthony Harding. Just missed out on a medal at the Junior World Championships earlier this year. But hardly any splash coming up there at all. Really good start from him. 3 times Great Britain Junior Elite Champion. Qualified in 2nd place this morning, but that's a great start, putting him in 1st place, 75.90.
Last dive of this
Lian Junji,
Lian Junji, People Republic of China.
3-meter
51,
Junior World
54B.
Champion, bronze medalist, but he's a 10-meter specialist normally. This is his forward 2.5 somersaults with 2 twists, 3.4. Oh dear, oh, absolute disaster for him. Well, he finished badly this morning. He only got 3s and 3.5s for his dives this morning, but you could see he almost slipped off the board there, just right over the corner, and he just completely dived over towards the panel of judges. Gosh, this means this is completely open now. Scoring 0, a failed dive for the Chinese. What a dreadful start for him. And I think everybody else will be in shock. But that puts Anthony Harding from Great Britain in 1st place at the moment with 284.40, closely followed by the Australian. And well, who would have expected that? Lian Junji on the same score as he came in from the preliminary rounds. That was really, really dreadful for him. That was such a shame. But Anthony Harding really did get his bid for a medal off to a really good start. But that was, well, he just obviously can't have been in the mindset, just completely lost his balance, fell off the board. It can happen. We hate to see it happen. But there was nothing that he could do about it. He tried so hard to get that dive in, but it was absolutely impossible for him. You cannot dive off from the side of the board like that. So moving on to the 2nd round now at these Summer Youth Olympics. Jack Matthews from Ohio, Kinsale dive team. Back 2.5 somersaults in a pike. Well, seeing the dive before didn't unsettle him. That shows really good mental attitude. Nice dive, really good dive. Score of 63, which is a massive improvement on his score of 52 this morning. Dylan Vogue, 18 years of age.
107B.
Made his debut in diving back in 2011. This is his hardest dive, the forward 3.5 somersaults in a pike. Oh, legs went too far over. You could see that for yourselves, really.
Judges scores 4, 4.
And that's reflected in the scores.
3,
disappointing for him, 35.65. Scored 63.5 for that one in the preliminary rounds. Jules Bouillet, very consistent. Lyon Diving Club, where he's coached by Perrault Frédéric. And this is his forward 3.5 somersaults in the tuck, 2.8. Lovely height off the board. Beautiful execution. It needs to be because it's a lower degree difficulty, but he's diving so well today. Kicked out just the right time. Coach looks really happy with that. 58.80. So again, a very big improvement on this morning.
Next diver, Ruslan Ternovoy.
Ruslan Ternovoy from Russia. Very experienced diver. Tends to specialise in the 10 metre. Inward 2.5 somersaults with pike. Beautiful. Spot on with the entry. Very little splash coming up.
Judges score 7.
3 sevens for a score of 63.
7.
That's good enough to put him in first place at the moment.
Salta Randall Williams Valdez, 205B.
16-year-old Randall Villars Valdez. Back 2.5 somersaults. 3.0. Well, powered off the dive board there, but unfortunately didn't nail the entry. Good tight pike, but you can see the legs just coming off towards the camera, making rather a lot of splash on the water. So 6.5 though. First half of the dive was very good, 58.50.
Next diver, Antonio Volpe, 405B.
So Antonio Volpe, 18 years of old, dreams of going to the Olympic Games. Well, this is the Youth Olympics, so good job. And he's going to be doing inward 2.5 somersaults, or otherwise known as 405B. Very clean dive. If you're wondering what the codes all mean, the codes for the dive, the first digit is what the dive is, whether it's front, back, reverse. The second digit is the direction that they take off. Third digit, number of half somersaults. And the letter at the end says whether it's a pike or a twist, a tuck or straight. But those are 6.5s with a score of 58.6.
Salta Daniel Restrepo Garcia, 307C.
So massive improvement on his first dive from the prelims, where he scored only 27. See what he can do now. That will have settled his nerves. Wow, the height that he got there. Really good height. He was the flag bearer for Colombia. They have a team of 56 here at these Youth Olympics. So the largest team in the country's history. So a very, very proud moment for him. degree difficulty of 3.5.
Puntuaciones.
So a score of 77, taking him into second place.
7,5, 8,5.
Next diver, Lou Masenberg, 305B.
Lou Massenberg, reverse, 2.5 somersaults. Degree difficulty 3.0. This will be in the pike. Taking his time to settle himself, make sure that everybody is ready, waits for the whistle to go. Well, it was a good dive. It wasn't perfect, but really good extension in those legs and feet. Very, very tight on the pike. But you can see just couldn't hold that vertical.
Judges' scores, 6.
Took gold at the European Games earlier this year in Glasgow, 55.50. That was in the mixed 3 metre on that occasion. And a silver in the mixed team.
Salta Braden Hattie.
Braden Hattie.
5,152B.
Forward, 2.5 somersaults with a twist in the pike. Yep, nice dive. His coach nods his head after every dive anyway. Great to have a team that's so supportive. Feet slightly came apart on the entry, so needs to tidy that up a little bit. These dives, they have to be done 2 feet on the board as they push off.
Puntuaciones.
6.5 for a score of 58.50, puts him in 5th place.
6,5, 6,5.
Next diver, Matthew Carter, 109C.
Matthew Carter, forward 4.5 somersaults in a tuck. Very difficult dive, 3.8. He did it well earlier. Oh, just left it short. Just didn't allow himself enough room to get in the 4.5. Just needed to kick out just a little bit quicker.
Judges the scores.
The score won't be as good as earlier. He scored 79.80 for this dive earlier, but with 4s and 4.5s, that's going to be disappointing for him.
Salta Anthony Harding. 407C.
So currently lying in first place after round 1, Anthony Harding. This is his most difficult dive. Inward 3.5 somersaults in the tuck. Yeah, great dive. Lots of support here. Scored 68 for this dive in the prelims. Let's see what the judges think. It will be multiplied by the 3.4. Just 3 scores carry through. 2 7.5s, a 7. They're multiplied by the degree difficulty for the score of 74.80, keeping him in first place.
Last dive of this round, Lian Yunjie, 205B.
So what can Lian Junji do after the disappointment of the failed dive in round 1?
Rogamos hacer silencio, por favor, al momento del salto.
Just being asked to wait just a second. Back 2.5 somersaults in the pike. Well, nerves of steel to come back and do a dive like that after getting a 0 for his first dive, the shock of that. But he is a 10-meter specialist, so he can live to see another day on the 10 meters where hopefully the same won't happen. Not the scores that he really wants, 6.5. So again, slight over rotation and a score of 57. So confirmation after round 2, Anthony Harding leading the way. Lian Junji still having to fight back, currently lying 12th.
Vamos a dar comienzo a la tercera ronda.
Round number 3.
So moving on to the third round of 5.
305B.
Jack Matthews. Diving since the age of 6, now 15 years of age. Reverse 2.5 somersaults.
Puntuaciones.
So some really good diving from Jack Matthews, 61.50. Now that he's qualified for the finals, it just seems to have settled his nerves a little bit from how he dived earlier.
Next diver, Dylan
Vork.
205B.
Dives for Club de Dolphin, where he's coached by Ramon de Meyer. This is his back 2.5 somersaults in the pike. Well, fairly consistent. Does need to watch those feet, keep them close together. But there was a lot of noise as he came off the diving board. I don't know whether he heard that. I don't know whether it affected it. Hopefully not. You are allowed to put an appeal straight away if you do feel that it affected your dive. But we'll have to wait and see.
Judges scores.
So 6 is 6.5, 55.50 for an overall total score of 350.45, third place at the moment.
Salta Jules Bouillet.
Jules Bouillet lying in 8th place after the first 2 rounds. Going with the back 2.5 somersaults in the tuck. Could do with a bit more extension in those feet in the pike position. And maybe hitting that vertical a little bit quicker. 5.5 for a 46.2. For a total score of 373.
Next diver, Ruslan Ternovoy, 205B.
Ruslan Ternovoy, 17 years of age. Back 2.5 somersaults in the pike. And certainly one of the contenders for getting on that podium if he keeps this up. Again, a lovely pike, but just letting those legs roll over a little bit. So not
Judges score.
a clean entry.
6.5.
6.5s, 58.50. That's good enough to put him in first place at the moment. 399.70.
Salta Randall Williams Valdez.
16-year-old Randall Villas Valdez with his third dive, reverse 2.5 somersaults in the pike. Finished 9th at the World Championships last year as a senior. Amazing result in a senior championships to actually make the final. So real talent for the future. The power that he gets off the board. 6.5 2.7s for 61.5. Second place for the Mexican with 389.90.
Next diver, Antonio Volpe, 107B.
Antonio Volpe, she heard 107B, which is the forward 3.5 somersaults in the pike. Yeah, good clean entry. Wasn't quite a ripped entry, as we say in diving, but it was still very good.
Judges scores.
7.5s and a 7 for 68.2, which moves him up to a second place.
Salta Daniel Restrepo García. 5.172.
Daniel Restrepo Garcia won 2 golds at the South American Youth Games in 2017. Forward 3.5 somersaults with a twist. Brilliant. Very difficult dive. 3.7. Really good placement off the board. Really maximising. Knees bent. He needs to straighten out the knees a little bit more, work on that flexibility. So 6.5s and a 6 to score a 70.30. Lou Massenberg, 9th after round 2. Forward 2.5 somersaults with a twist. Qualified for this final in 5th place. Again, very consistent diving from this junior European champion. Felt he was slightly a little bit too far back on the board and over to one side there. The judges won't see that as much as we do, though.
Judges score.
And they appreciate the dive. Score of 64.5. 5th place at the moment for Lou Massenberg.
Salta Braiden Hattie. 305B.
Braiden Hattie. Reverse 2.5 somersaults. Yep, lifted the legs better at the end. Again, really good height. Needs to lock the knees just a little bit more. But I'm being ultra critical here. And just a very, very little twist at the end as he entered the water. But a good score, Sevens across the board to count,
7.5.
putting him in 4th place.
Next diver, Matthew Carter, 205B.
Matthew Carter. Back 2.5 somersaults in the pike. Well, he's picked himself up from the disappointment of the last dive.
Judges scores 7.5.
67.50. That will be a relief for him because he only scored 48 for that dive in the prelims. So he's well and truly fighting back.
Salta Anthony Harding.
Anthony Harding currently lying in 1st place after the first 2 dives with his back 2.5 somersaults. Degree difficulty 3.0. Good dive. Feet a little bit untidy, I felt. Great pike there. Just didn't quite nail the entry. But scores of 2 sevens and an 8, so keeping him well and truly in 1st place with a score of 66. Great diving from Anthony Harding.
Last dive of this round, Lian Junji.
So Lian Juji, very disappointing final so far. He's going to really, really need strength, mainly in his mind, to really nail these last few dives. Reverse 3.5 somersaults. Very difficult dive, 3.5. Scored really well for this in the prelims this morning. What can he do? This really isn't his day at all. No, but he'll be back for the 10 metres. Well, it's going to be nowhere near as good as in the prelim rounds, unfortunately. Just out of it. Just really something not right at all. But when you start with a failed dive, it's very hard to come back from that. The disappointment, 36.75, keeps him back in 12th place. Very, very disappointing for Lian Junji. Took the bronze medal at the Junior World Championships. But here we have the standings at the moment. Anthony Harding, 425.2. Great diving from him. The Colombian moving up to 2nd place and the Russia in 3rd. Very, very close between 3rd and 4th, the Russian. 399.70, and then Antonio Volpe from Italy, 399.65.
Salta Jacques Matthew, 405B.
Jack Matthews starting off the 4th round at the Summer Youth Olympics 3-meter finals. Inward 2.5 somersaults in the pike. Very neat dive. 3.0 degree difficulty. So not one of the hardest dives here, but good consistent execution from Jack Matthews. Will be 16 in November. 6.5s and 6s for a 57. Exactly the same as he got in the prelims this morning. Looks like he was going to straight away watch a replay there. Dylan Vork. Reverse 2.5 somersaults. This will be in the pike position. This was his weakest dive in the preliminary final 5 dives. Scored 45 this morning. But looked like he was really focused for this one.
Judges scores.
So slight improvement, 49.5, 3 5.5.
5.5, 5, 6.
Salda Jules Bouillet, 305C.
Jules Bouillet, reverse 2.5 somersaults. Yep, nice dive. I think he's got so much talent for the future. He's only 16 years of age, finished 11th at the Junior European Championships earlier this year. Had the easiest 5 dives, but that's not taking anything away from him at all because he is executing them really well. Score of 56. Second place at the moment.
Next diver, Ruslan Ternovoy, 305B.
Ruslan Ternovoy. Reverse 2.5 somersaults. Only scored 33 for this. This is the one he didn't do so well this morning. Oh, that is so much better. That shows real strength of character. He knew he did that one badly this morning, but he's come out here and done a much, much, much better dive. Wasn't perfect, but it was certainly very good.
Judges scores.
7.5.
7.5. 8. 7.5.
67.50.
7.
So anything between a 7 and an 8 from a judge is considered good. 8.5 to 9.5 is very good. Randall Villas Valdez from Mexico, forward 3.5 somersaults. All of his dives have been in the pike position. So obviously feels more comfortable with that than the tuck. Really good tight pike there. Chest right up against the legs. Great flexibility. 3 7s, 65.10, putting him in second place with 455.
Next diver, Antonio Volpe, 205B.
18-year-old Antonio Volpe, last year as a junior, wants to maximise on that. Back 2.5 somersaults in the pike. Slight over rotation there. Could do with locking out those knees a little bit more as well on the pike.
Judges scores 6, 5.
So 6s and a 5.5 puts him in third place at the moment with a total score of 452.15.
Salta Daniel Restrepo Garcia, 407C.
So what can the Colombian do? Inward 3.5 somersaults in a tuck. 3.4 degree difficulty. Oh, really nice dive there from Daniel Restrepo Garcia. He's getting so much support from the crowd, as he did this morning. So he was the flag bearer for his country here at the Youth Olympics. What an honour that was for him. And he is the junior world champion in the 3 metres, 78.20, and that moves him up to first place. Good diving.
Next diver, Lou Masenberg, 205B.
Lou Massenberg, back 2.5 somersaults in the pike. Another diver that's shown good consistency.
Judges score
3 sevens, so consistency from the judges as well. The score of 63, 448.75 in total.
Salta Bryden Hattie.
Bryden Hattie says his sister Courtney really inspires him. He wants to follow in her footsteps. She won a gold at the Canadian Games, the summer event. Back 2.5 somersaults. Again in the pike. Well, a bit of a heavy entry. Good height off the board. 5.5. So he's got another year as a junior. He's only 17 years of age. Listens to music and dances apparently to settle his nerves before the competition. So Matthew Carter really needs to start doing something exceptional. This is a 3.5 degree difficulty, so if he nails it, the score will be good. Yeah, it was a good dive. Entry could have been a little bit cleaner. But fantastic height off the board. Just really needs to lock those feet together on entry.
Judges score 6.5, 6, 6.
So a high of a 7 to carry through, 6.5, 6, 68.25. Puts him in 3rd place at the moment. Anthony Harding lying in 1st place after 3 rounds. With the reverse 2.5 somersaults in the pike. 3.0 degree difficulty. Yeah, really good dive. Slight twist as he went through the water. But gosh, is he diving well tonight. Really looks full of determination. Fantastic height off the board, but it did get that twist. Though he managed to control it. Great extension in the legs. 7s, 63. So retaining 1st place with a score of 488.20. Ahead of the Colombian diver, 482.95. So Lian Junji, not his night tonight. 3.4 inward, 3.5 somersaults. And this is all about pride, really. Oh, that was a great dive. Nailed the entry. That was so much better. But it's going to be too little, too late. But he'll be back on the 10-meter platform, which is a stronger event for him. Really good tuck position. Have to be careful that the knees aren't outside of the shoulders, but fantastic scores. The highest so far, 3 8.5s for 86.70, which does move him up one place, but just to 11th. What must be going through his head at the moment? So confirmation of the standings after round 4. Anthony Harding up there in first place, but the Colombian right on his tail, 482.95, not much in it at all. Jack Matthews is having a good finals in 9th place. And Dylan Vork lying in 12th place at the moment. So everything to play for, very close as well between Matthew Carter and Ruslan Turnovo. One, well, depends how they dive, but 463.3 to Matthew Carter, currently lying in 4th, 467.20 for the Russian, lying in 3rd. What a finals this is turning out to be. Jack Matthews, his favourite dive, he's doing last. Forward 2.5 somersaults with twist in the pike position. Oh, what an impressive young man this is. Still only 15 years of age, the youngest competitor in the men's diving, and has just shown real consistency. Needs to stretch those toes a little bit more, but left his favourite dive to last. Score of 63. Good job. He can now go and celebrate with his favourite food, which apparently is chicken and fried rice.
Next diver, Dylan Vork from Netherlands.
Dylan Vork, 18 years of age, final dive, forward 2.5 somersaults with twist in the pike position. Yeah, really controlled that well. Nice to see the coaches supporting each other there. A little bit too far back, I felt, on the board, but managed to really control it. But just fell over sideways a little bit. Moved towards the judges. They won't see it as much as we did. Well, perhaps they did actually with those scores. 57.80.
Salta Jules Bouillet, representante de Francia, 5.235.
Jules Bouillet. So Jules Bouillet, 16. Another very, very impressive diver. With his back 1.5 somersaults, 2.5 twists, 2.8 degree difficulty. He's certainly a real talent for the future, and what great experience he is getting here at these Youth Olympics. Some really good dives from him. He's up against it because they are lower degree, but still some great diving. 3 7s, big thumbs up, 58.80, and big congratulations.
Next diver, Ruslan Turnovoy from Russian Federation.
So Ruslan Turnovoy
37D.
From the Russian Federation. Hopes of a podium place if he can nail this dive. Reverse 1.5 somersaults, 3.5 twists, high degree difficulty, 3.5. Oh, yeah. Well, she likes it. Scored 50.75 for this in the preliminary rounds. Just lost the feet a little bit there. Didn't look quite as comfortable in the air. The feet came apart slightly there, but it was no doubt it was a tremendous dive and really appreciated by the judges. 3.8, 84.0, puts him in first place at the moment. And likely to be good enough to get him on the podium. But now the Mexican, Randall Villas-Valdez, 16 years of age, normally focuses on the 10 meters, has left his hardest dive to the last one. 3.4 degree difficulty, forward 2.5 somersaults with 2 twists in the pike. Yeah, very solid diving. So competes as a senior as well as a junior, so that gives him valuable experience. 7.5, 73.10. That's good enough to put him second at the moment. Score of 528.10. Antonio Volpe. Very clean entry. Perhaps moved slightly too far away from the board on his reverse 2.5 somersaults. Really high on the hurdle jump.
Judges the scores. 7, 6.5, 6.5.
Puts him in third place, but still more diving yet. 3.7, score of 63. Thanks to the audience, which was a nice touch. So currently lying in second place, Daniel Restrepo Garcia, junior world champion at this event. 3.8 degree difficulty. Oh, and he's absolutely nailed that one. Forward 4.5 somersaults in a tuck, 3.8 degree difficulty. He left his hardest dive right till the end. Feet right on the edge of the board there. Absolutely brilliant, got maximum impact off the board, really used the board there to get that height, to get in those 4.5 somersaults. And the crowd loved it. Fantastic diving. 8.5, 2.8, 93.10. Best score of the day, 576.05. And he has laid down the gauntlet.
Next diver, Lou Masenberg from Germany, 107B.
Lou Masenberg. Final dive forward, 3.5 somersaults in the pike position. 3.1 degree difficulty. Yeah, nice dive to finish. Some really impressive diving from these young men. 66.65 places him fourth. Bryden Hattie trains with the Victoria Boardworks Club. Forward 3.5 somersaults, 3.1 for his final dive. Yeah, really good, consistent diving from him. Just a bit of over rotation there. Score of 65.1, 6th place, with 3 more divers to go.
Next diver, Matthew Carter from Australia, 51.56B.
Matthew Carter qualified for this final in 3rd place. 3.9 degree difficulty. He really has chosen some very, very difficult dives. Hopefully the judges will appreciate that. But it will be times by 3.9 anyway. Just looks slightly off balance, but really got that dive in. Some good twists. So much to pack in when it's only 3 meters. Just coming up just a little bit short.
Judges scores.
But 79.95. So moves him up to 3rd place. But still Anthony Harding, and he knows this, Anthony Harding still to dive. So final dive from Anthony Harding in 1st place after 4 rounds, but has to absolutely do an amazing dive. Just a 3.1 degree difficulty here. The Colombian did an exquisite dive for his final dive. Forward, 3.5 somersaults. He has dived extremely well today. Absolutely brilliant. He will be on the podium. We just need to wait and see what it's going to be. Really over one side on the board there. And 2nd place for Anthony Harding. That was going to be very, very difficult for him to keep the gold medal position, but celebrations for the Colombian. That last dive really nailed it. Such a difficult dive. And, well, certainly one of the favourites with the crowd, but all credit to Anthony Harding. Fantastic diving to take what will be the silver medal. We just have one more diver to go. Lian Junji from China. Really, really hasn't been his day, but let's see if he can finish this on a high. A 3.8, the forward 4.5 somersaults in the tuck. Currently lying in 11th place. 1st dive was a failed dive, so scored 0s. 2nd dive, well, that was low as well. What must be going through his mind? Determination, hopefully, to nail this last dive for pride. Yeah, and he certainly did that. Well, so much admiration for him. Not the final he wanted by any means. But he'll be back in the 10-meter platform. And he is the current junior world champion. So let's hope he can pull it together for the 10-meter. But a 93.10 as he walks away to reflect. Well, the story of the day has to be the Colombian Daniel Restrepo Garcia taking the gold, 576.05. Anthony Harding, the silver, 559.50. And the Russian Ruslan Ternovio getting the bronze, 551.20. Just missing out, Matthew Carter from Australia, 543.25. But disappointment, huge disappointment for the diver from China, Lian Junji. came in here as the favourite, was ahead by a huge amount after the preliminaries, but only managing to finish 10th after his failed dive. But, well, he pulled it back on the last couple of dives. Fantastic scenes here, though, with the Colombian. Junior world champion in the 3 meters, and now youth Olympic champion as well. Only qualified 6th. Didn't have such a good morning this morning, but that's diving. As we look at some of the incredible dives from earlier. This was the 4.5 somersaults, which assured him of the gold medal. And what a brilliant dive it was. So we'll now wait for that all-important medal ceremony as everybody comes, and congratulations all round to Daniel Restrepo Garcia. Final year as a junior. What a way to go out. And we look forward to seeing him in senior competitions in the future. But thoroughly deserved. After taking the risk, really, on his final dive, a 3.8, but he absolutely nailed it. So we just await now as they set up for the medal ceremony. But so nice to see so many countries coming up to congratulate him. So it's gold for Daniel Restrepo Garcia. Silver, fantastic result for Anthony Harding. And Russia, Ruslan Tonovai, 17 years of age, so he has another year as a junior. He took the bronze.
Mesdames et messieurs, la cérémonie de vainqueur de l'épreuve tremplin 3 mètres hommes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the men's 3 meters springboard.
Damas y caballeros, la ceremonia de premiación de trampolín 3 metros caballeros.
So we now have the victory ceremony for the men's 3 meter springboard at these Youth Olympics.
The medals will be presented by...
Hace entrega de las medallas
Madame Samira Asghari de l'Afghanistan, membre du Comité international olympique.
Mrs. Samira Asghari, Afghanistan, member of International Olympic Committee.
La señora Samira
So as you can
Asghari
hear, Mrs.
de
Samira
Afganistán,
Asghar,
miembro del Comité Olímpico
IOC
Internacional.
member from Afghanistan, presenting the medals tonight, accompanied by FINA Bureau member
La acompaña
Madame Ji Hongsu de la République populaire de Chine, membre du bureau de la Fédération internationale de natation.
Mrs. Jihong Su, People's Republic of China, International Swimming Federation Bureau member.
la señora Ji Hong-su de la República Popular China, miembro del Buró de la Federación Internacional de Natación.
Médaillé de bronze, la Fédération de Russie.
Bronze medalist, Russia Federation.
Medalla de bronce de la Federación Rusa, Ruslan Ternovoy.
So the bronze medal going to Ruslan Ternovoy, just 17 years of age. So he's got another year as a junior. Junior European champion for the 10 meter, and now bronze medalist at these Youth Olympics in the 3 meter. What a moment for this young man.
Médaillé d'argent, la Grande-Bretagne.
Silver medalist, Great Britain.
Medalla de plata de Gran Bretaña, Anthony Harding.
Anthony Harding, Great Britain, represents the City of Leeds club. Just missed out at the Junior World Championships, finishing 4th, but now takes a silver medal at these Youth Olympics. Truly fabulous diving.
Médaille d'or et championne de Jeux Olympiques de la jeunesse Buenos Aires 2018, la Colombie.
Gold medalist and Youth Olympic Games Buenos Aires 2018 champion from Colombia.
Medalla de oro y campeón de los Juegos Olímpicos de la Juventud Buenos Aires 2018 de Colombia, Daniel Restrepo García.
Daniel Restrepo Garcia, Junior World Champion, now Youth Olympic Champion. He was flag bearer at the opening ceremony. He's absolutely a crowd favourite. It came down to his last dive and he absolutely nailed it. And this means you can see just how much this means to him. So emotional standing there, and the crowd absolutely love him, have supported him all the way through the preliminaries. But that last dive that he did was absolutely exquisite.
Mesdames et messieurs, l'hymne de la Colombie.
Ladies and gentlemen, the anthem of Colombia.
Damas y caballeros, el himno de Colombia.
Mesdames et messieurs, les
Emotional scenes here at the natatorium in the Olympic Park. Such fabulous diving from these young athletes. Confirmation there. Colombia, Daniel Restrepo Garcia taking the gold. Anthony Harding the silver, and Ruslan Ternovoy from Russia the bronze.